All right, fifth graders, so we're going to start working with math expressions and parentheses. So math expressions is another word for a math sentence or a math problem. So let's check it out. So this tape diagram here represents a math expression with some parentheses. So we're going to break it down. So write the expression that names the whole. Well, it gives it to us right there, 9 plus 11. Now this is an expression, not an equation, because there's no equal sign. If it had an equal sign, then it's an equation. So what do we call the answer to an addition sentence? The sum. Whenever you hear the word sum, you know we're talking about addition. So our whole, this whole stinking thing, is the sum of 9 and 11. Well, how many units is the sum being divided into? 1, 2, 3. Check it out. It's being divided into 4. So what's the name of the fractional unit? Fourths. When we divide something into 4 pieces, it's called fourths. And how many fourths are we trying to find? Well, this piece right here tells us we're looking for 3 of them. So this tape diagram is showing 3/4 of the sum of 9 and 11. And we're going to write the numerical expression, the number sentence that's going to match it. So check it out. So 3/4 of the sum of 9 and 11. You might think that it's 3. So remember, 3/4 times something is how we say 3/4 of. And then here's the important part. We're going to put the parentheses around 9 and 11. Because that tells us we have to do 9 plus 11 first. Because it's the sum. So when we're doing the 3/4, we already have the sum of 9 and 11. So why is it necessary to put those parentheses around? So we know to do that first. So we know that we want to add the 9 plus the 11 before we do anything else. So when something says to evaluate or simplify, those words both mean solve. So let's check it out. 3/4 or 3/4 times 9 plus 11. Well, the parentheses mean we do that first, so we know 9 plus 11 equals 20. So now we know our expression is 3/4 times 20. And you guys know how to solve that. So we're going to rewrite that as 3/4 times 20 over 1. And that gives us 60 over 4, because we just multiplied across. Well, how many times does 4 go into 60? It goes in 15 times. So the answer to our expression is 15. Now check out this tape diagram. This is a little different than the first one. So how is this model different? We don't know the whole. We don't know what the whole equals, so we're a little confused. So read the subtraction expression that tells the value of 1 unit or 1/5 of the model. So there's a subtraction expression that tells us what just 1/5 equals. So write it in word form. Well, that is 1/3 minus 1/4. So whatever 1/3 minus 1/4 is equals 1 of these units. So what's the name for the answer to a subtraction problem? Ooh. So we know it's the sum if we're adding, but if we're subtracting, it's the difference. So this unit is the difference of 1/3 and 1/4. So how many of these 1/3 minus 1/4 units does our model show? 5. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the numerical expression to match those words is 5 times the difference of 1/3 and 1/4. So here's how we'd write that in number. We know because it's already the difference that we have to do that first. So we have 1/3 minus 1/4, and we're going to put that in parentheses. And then we're going to multiply it by 5. Do we need parentheses for this expression? Yes. Because when it says difference, it means we've already subtracted them, so that came first. We already had the difference before we had the 5 times. Now we're evaluating. We are solving our expression. So we had 1/3 minus 1/4 is in the parentheses, so we're going to do that first. Uh-oh, we can't subtract fractions that don't match. So we have to turn those, how about into 12ths? So let's see, 1/3, if we turn it into 12ths, we have to multiply everything by 4. So that gives us 4/12 minus, if we're going to turn fourths into 12ths, we have to multiply by 3, minus 3/12. Okay, so 1/12. So our parentheses, 1/3 minus 1/4 equals 1/12. We still have to do 5 times 1/12, so 5 times 1/12. Well, you guys know that that would be the same as 5 over 1 times 1/12. So we're going to multiply across, which is going to give us 5 times 1 is 5, and 1 times 12 is 12. 5/12. Cool. So here they're not giving us a model, they're writing it out. So the product of 4 and 2 divided by 3. Well, I know the product means multiplication, so I got the product of 4 and 2, then divided by 3. Were the parentheses necessary? Nope. Because 4 times 2 divided by 3? Yep. Since I know that I multiply first in a math problem, so that's what I had to do. Awesome. So evaluate the expression. Well, 4 times 2 is 8, and then still divided by 3. And I know that 8 divided by 3 is 8/3. Whoa, improper fraction. You know I don't like that. Well, let's see. I'm going to take 3 of those thirds to make a 1, and then I have 1 and 5/3. Oh, still improper. Better do it again. 2 and 2/3. Whew. All right, let's take a look at these. 2 divided by 3 times 4. There's no parentheses, and all we have is division and multiplication. So division and multiplication, they don't outrank each other. They're the same. So then we just go left to right. So that means we have 2 divided by 3, and then we multiply it by 4. Well, 2 divided by 3 is 2/3 times 4. We're going to make it times 4 over 1. That's going to equal 8/3. And we know from what we just did up here that 8/3 is the same as 2 and 2/3. Let's look at B. 4/3 doubled. Well, we know doubled means times 2. So let's write it properly. 4/3 times 2. Up. Let's put that in our cheat. Times 2 over 1. Which is 8/3. Hey, there's that number again, which we know is 2 and 2/3. How about down here? Ooh, so C looks a lot like A, only there's some parentheses. So we know parentheses mean you do that first. So 3 times 4 is 12. So we're looking at 2 divided by 12. Well, we know that 2 divided by 12 equals 2/12. And we can reduce that down to 1/6. All right, let's take a look at D. 2/3 times 4. We know how to do that. We're going to rewrite it to make our lives a little easier. And then we're just going to multiply across. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. Hey, 8/3 again. We sure are seeing an awful lot of 8/3 today. All right, this one's going to be a little tricky. Let's pay careful attention. 4 copies of the sum of 1/3 and 1/3. Okay, so 4 copies, we know that's something times 4. But of the sum. So of the sum, that means we have to add first. So in parentheses, 1/3 plus 1/3. And then we're going to multiply it by 4. So 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So we have 4 times 2/3, which would be 8/3. Oh boy, 8/3 again. And then this last problem, up 2 divided by 3 is in parentheses, so we do that first. So we have 2/3, because 2 divided by 3 is 2/3, times 4, which is, you guessed it, 8/3. Hoi! So what did we notice about your answers? They were almost all 8/3. Okay, but what was different about C? It was not 8/3. So what's another way to express 3/5 times 6? Well, 3/5 times 6/1, which would be 18/5, which would be 3 3/5. All right, here's the last section of our notes today, guys. So you're going to compare and tell me which one is bigger. So I want you to do this on your own, and once you finish, bring it to me and I'll check it out. Good luck.